Hey, what's up? Let's talk VR, shall we? VR is coming, and it will over time not only change the way we play video games, but also the way we interact with each other and the world. Today I want to focus on the use of VR in gaming and how to do it right. Even though people are really amazed with the technologies used in the Oculus Rift and the Vive, we have to understand that VR itself is still in its infancy. I would even dare to say that the stage VR is currently in is compared to a toddler that attempts to do his first step. It's cute to watch, a great accomplishment for the toddler himself, but really by no means enables him to finish the New York marathon anytime soon. So we all hear the term presence being thrown around whenever somebody talks about VR technology and tries to make it sound impressive. But what does presence actually mean? So VR affects the way we interact with the computer in almost every way. Instead of having a well-understood abstraction layer between us and the software, such as a 2D monitor, a mouse and a keyboard, we are now dealing with the virtual world in almost the same way we would with the physical world. And this has obviously some big implications for the way software interacts with us and how input devices need to change in order to provide true VR experience. And this comes with a long list of challenges that we need to overcome over time. So in order to achieve maximum presence, we need to minimize the level of abstraction while interacting with the software. So let me give you an example of a kind of trivial activity that we perform quite regularly in probably every first-person shooter that was ever made. So you encounter a closed door and you open it and you walk through it, usually into the next room. So that sounds pretty simple, right? Okay, let's look at this scenario from the perspective of a traditional gaming experience. It's actually quite simple. We look at a 2D monitor presenting the viewpoint of our in-game character. Then we press a button to open the door, and as soon as the door opens, we press another button, and that moves our avatar through the door into the next room. So that works great, but the level of presence is close to non-existent because of the high level of abstraction that we need to perform with our mind in order to understand what's going on the screen. So we first have to substitute our natural field of vision with the content that's being displayed on our monitor. That is for sure a no-brainer, but our imagination needs to work overtime in order to convince us that we are really standing in front of a virtual door. On top of that, we have to substitute the task of opening the door with the press of a single button. Opening a door in real life appears to be a very simple task to us, but in reality it's a quite masterful orchestration of our vision, depth perception, sense of touch, and muscular activity. So that being said, our brain won't be fooled by reducing that activity to just the push of a button. The same applies for walking. But here, in addition, we have to keep our inner ear happy, which acts as our body's internal gyroscope, and it's responsible to control our balance. Keeping this organ in sync with our visual stimulation is quite difficult, but a crucial task to keep you comfortable in VR and avoid simulation sickness. So as we can see, attempting to increase presence in this very simple task comes with its challenges. But let's see what it takes, just in theory, to transform that into a true VR experience. So we obviously need to project our field of vision into the game world. And this is currently done via a head-mounted display that tracks the movement of our head. So just with that, we already added a great amount of immersion and presence. and we are on track to fool our brain that we are really there. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. In order to avoid breaking immersion with unnatural abstractions, we need to physically reach out with our hands, touch the doorknob, and turn it in order to open the door. So we are facing two challenges here. First, we need to keep track of our arm and hand and translate our real-life movement into the game world. So motion trackers are a pretty widespread technology, and we have multiple options to accomplish that goal. The more challenging part is the sense of touch. The sense of touch is a vital part of the experience to open a door. Seeing and experiencing our hand to go through the doorknob like a ghost will immediately raise alarm flags in our brain, and the state of presence goes down the drain. So there are upcoming technologies out there that could solve this issue to a certain extent, but in my opinion, that is the hardest part to make VR appear real. Okay, so what's next? We have opened the door successfully, and now it's time to step through the door. Again, abstraction is not an option, so we have to use our real feet to perform the task. And motion tracking comes to the rescue again, but with one caveat. We want to walk without actually moving around. So obviously, walking around blindly in your office or living room is usually not a great idea. So that's why we need a device that keeps us in one spot as unobtrusive as possible, while allowing us to perform all sorts of movements we would naturally do. It's not an easy task again, but again, some technologies are in development that are starting to tackling this problem. But only to a certain extent, again. We'll get there. Whew, okay, so we are finally through the door without hopefully breaking the presence. So what an amazing accomplishment. So let's see, we just had to use 4 different devices that work together to provide this experience to us. So each one comes with its own price tag and also needs to be explicitly supported by our game. So I hope that shows how complex the transition is from our regular way of playing video games and even interacting with the computer as a whole in true virtual reality. But we're getting there, and I want to dedicate this series to this new emerging technology and discuss how we can get there. Okay, so in future episodes, I want to dive a little bit deeper into all of these problems that VR technologies need to solve. I will discuss some of the VR gadgets that are currently in development and how they overcome one or the other issue. I also really want to dedicate one or even multiple episodes to the, in my opinion, poster child of well-implemented virtual reality experience. Elite Dangerous. But that doesn't mean that we can't make it better. And since I'm a big fan of Elite Dangerous, mostly because it supports VR so well, I want to discuss it at great length. And last but not least, do some speculations on what the future might look like for VR. So I guess that's it for today. What do you think is important for VR and how we can achieve maximum presence? Please leave your opinions in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Laters!